3, 2, 1, and welcome back to Chasing the Racing, episode 6, with the legend that is Dom the Bomb Herberton.
And across from me is everyone's favourite maths teacher, who was Dawson, because it's half term, but that's in his news for the week, isn't it? You jammy sod, son of a gun. Some of us have got to work, unlike you maths teachers, living the dream. But anyway, I digress. It's the world's sexiest maths teacher, Chrissy the Rouse.
And Dom, we've got some exciting news this week. Our first sponsored podcast.
Oh, we've got our first one. Oh, that's grand.
Managed to pick up a first sponsor. So, local company based down in Consett, County Durham.
God's country.
God's country. It's KRG Motorcycles, and KRG Motorcycles that offer all aspects of motorcycle servicing and repairs, from superbikes to everyday commuters. They also specialise in suspension builds for almost all aftermarket and OEM suspension manufacturers. Now, Dom, you'll have to enlighten me and the viewers. What's OEM stand for?
I'm getting picked on here. Bloody hell, I'm asking questions. Oh, let me just go through. You just talk more about that. I'm just typing that in with my big fat thumbs. Yep, here we are. And hey, every day's a learning day, even though you're on half term, you jammy sod. I'm going to keep mentioning that till you go blue. Anyway, it stands for Original Equipment Manufacturer. So that just shows that this lad's just not messing about. He's getting the good stuff in. Obviously, high quality production, which is great.
Spot on. And you can check out all the 5-star reviews on the Facebook page. Just head over to KRG Motorcycles on Facebook. They're also on Twitter at KRG_motorcycles. And you can check out the website www.krg-motorcycles.co.uk. And there you can see the full range of all the services they provide.
Oh, spot on. Well, he actually sponsors one of my really good mates, Chicken Charlton, where he's actually... Richard Charlton's his proper name, but anyway, he's won the Michelin Cup. He's done absolutely brilliant job, and obviously that's down to help from local sponsors such as KRG. Yeah, so thank you so much for being our first title sponsor of the pod. So hey, God love you, son.
Yeah,
God love you.
Spot on. Thanks very much. And we've got a great show lined up today. We've got a pre-recording with Steve Brogan, Steve's actually my race coach, my mentor, has been for the last few years and has massively helped me with my riding. So I have an in-depth chat with him. We don't quite cover everything that we had written down.
That lad could talk more than us.
It was a good length of an interview, but I think it was really interesting. We sort of talked a wide range of how he got into racing, some of his favourite years and various things. So I think it'll be quite an interesting listen for the viewers.
Well, you've turned me into a fan anyway. He's got some fantastic crack about him. You've obviously taught me a lot about him. Obviously, there's some cracking stuff to be put on YouTube, onto the Twitter page, which is honestly you're going to love after you've listened to this, and you will love the viewing. And my respect for the man went through the roof, mind. What an outstanding rider. Really is.
Speaking of Twitter, we've had a bit of our phones have never stopped today. I think we've had probably our most engaging post.
I've recharged my phone twice, youngin. That's never happened. Twice.
As this morning it was like a sort of maths related bike racing question on, and I'll just get it up on my phone. 2 seconds. So we've got three pistons. 2 seconds. I'll just put my password in. We've got 3 pistons.
You're talking about your Triumph days here. 3 pistons.
That's summed to 30. We've then got a piston and 2 tyres. That's summed to 20. So that means pistons are 10. The tyres are 5. And then we've got a tyre plus a double shock, like a twin shock plus another twin shock.
Here we go.
Is 9.
There we are.
So that means that a twin shock is worth 2. So therefore a single shock is just worth 1. So on the bottom line, the final line, we've got a tyre plus a shock times a piston. Now, a lot of people, we had a wide range of answers. We had loads and loads of tweets. Very few correct answers.
We had some cocky answers as well, didn't we? They were like, it's blatantly 87. Blatantly 87.
It's been good. It has been good crack, and I've enjoyed it. Thanks so much to everyone that's been posting the opinions and stuff.
One of my favourite answers has got to be Road Racing Daily. You know what I mean? He put a picture of Columbo on going, even he can't solve this one. So there we go.
So just to clarify, so on that bottom row, like I said, you've got a 5 plus 1 times a 10. And if you can cast your minds back to maths lessons, you'll remember that there's an order of operations. So like some people know it as BODMAS, some people know it BIDMAS. And if you use BIDMAS, you know that multiplications come before additions. So I think that's what was tricking most people. So you've got your 1 times your 10, add the 5. So the final answer you get is 15. So very, like I say, I think we probably had about 50 or 60 tweets today with different answers. And I reckon there was probably only maybe about 4 or 5 correct answers. Very few.
There'll be a few people editing their posts now, won't there? They'll be like, I'll just delete mine. There you go.
But no, like
we
I
know
say,
who you are. You can't run from
like
this.
I say, thanks for everyone that tweeted us in. It has been good crack.
It's been mint crack.
And obviously, we've got quite a long recording, so we'll keep this bit, the intro, short. Obviously, we've had a bit of World Superbike testing, but we'll talk about that later. And I mean, how's the fingers? The last time we were speaking to you, you just had an operation. How's that coming along?
Yeah, no, it's well, the NHS haven't provided me a new finger yet. They can't find the exact donor, but hey, beggars can't be choosers, son. But no, hey, enough about my week. Now, there's a rumour going round, spread by me, that you've had a holiday. So how did that go, son? Me, lucky half-term son of a gun.
It's been canny. I've been over in the Lake District today, so I had just a quick blast over at Helvellyn. And me and my pal Robbie just went up and walking the hills, and it has been really good, and I'm enjoying my time off. Never at work, us teachers are.
Well, obviously, there's the problem, son. There's the problem, because when this podcast gets out, it's going to be Friday, and you've got your last weekend before you go back to graft. God bless you, you lucky son of a bitch.
So, without further ado, over to our interview. Like I say, I really enjoyed the crack, and I hope the listeners do too. So, Steve Brogan, ladies and gentlemen. So we've got our second guest, Steve Brogan. Are you there, Steve?
Yeah, I'm here, mate.
How are we doing?
Just might get cut off the line, mate, because I'm not sure if I paid my phone bill this month. So if we get cut off, you'll have to just transfer us a few quid, mate, so I can pay my phone bill. Is that all right? Are you laughing at? I'm not laughing.
I'm not. He is now. I don't know how to take you. I've only just met you and I don't know how to take you. This is brilliant.
Good job you can't see my face then.
So
where do we go from here, Chrissy? Where do we go from here? Go for it.
So Steve, you had your first outing with the new Superbike School at the weekend down at Oulton Park. Obviously it's been a long time in the making, setting your own Superbike School up. How was the first track day?
Yeah, it was brilliant, thanks, mate. It was obviously being mid-February. I didn't think I was going to take any bookings, to be fair, because obviously the temperatures and the weather and all that type of stuff. So I just put it out there on social media, and I was pretty much fully booked out, really, to be fair. We had to actually turn a few people away because the track day was full in the end. So we had to turn 2 or 3 people away. But yeah, in terms of, the customers loved the day. They all got a lot out of it. The feedback at the end of the day was great, and it was just, for me, it was all about just getting there, trying to be seen by everybody, and obviously trying to get my name out there, what I'm doing, and what I've got on offer, basically, to track day riders. So it was really good, mate. It was a good shakedown one. I just went by myself. To be honest, I literally just picked my brand new ZX10 up from Kawasaki UK 2 days before. And they said to me, Steve, you're all right to like PDI it and stuff yourself, because we haven't got time to do it. I was like, yeah, no problem. Anyway, got the bike back in my garage at home and stuff, and I was thinking, shit, what do I have to do here? Like to PDI, what do I have to do properly? Is that £1 in your swear box already from me?
Oh, I definitely are. We'll be coming down to rinse you, young, and all the way down to Liverpool.
Is it £1, or are we talking like 10p's and £1? All right, I'll best not the swear.
Oh no, then. Well, you can't even pay the lecky bill for the phone. Never mind anything else. So
exactly. So yeah. Anyway, I just about got my bike bloody started the day before, and I got the battery connected and all that. So it was literally the first time I've ridden a bike and all stuff like that. So yeah, it was nice, mate. It was nice to get out there, and as you say, it's been a long time me planning, and it was literally just obviously, as you know, since I retired from racing 5 years ago, I've been coaching pretty much full time. Doing my own personal one-on-one coaching. Then I've done a fair bit of coaching over in the European circuits for focused events, and then done a
Nice,
lot of
very
stuff.
nice.
Yeah, and then done a lot of stuff in the UK for James Whittam. So it's sort of I kind of served my apprenticeship really in coaching, if you like, over that 5 years. So I thought it's probably about time that I pretty much try and set something up myself, you know.
Aye, fantastic.
So
Well, I seen the photos on the old social media, and obviously the bike, and I think is it Tommy Hill that's done all your design work.
yeah,
But
yeah, Tommy's done all the design stuff
yeah,
for us, man.
it's all looking mega professional, and I seen you've got your brand new RST leathers through the post. Was it today with the old
Yeah,
NGK cap on backwards?
yeah,
Hold
that's
on.
it.
That's something we're bringing up here, right?
Yeah.
You're not 16. Put your cap forwards, young'un. Put your caps
Listen,
forwards. You know what I mean? I don't know
listen.
how you lot roll. I don't know
Any
how you lads roll
opportunity, any
in Liverpool.
opportunity for me to be a full-time racer again, I literally said to my missus, the kids were standing there watching me get my picture taken by my missus, and I said, right, what do you think of the car? Forwards, backwards, and I said, do I have my ears in, my ears out, and I just felt like a complete knob doing it. But you know what? I've done it for the good of NGK because they've been unbelievable to me, and I know they're based up there in the northeast by you boys, so it was all in good spirit for NGK.
Aye,
We've got a lot to
spot
learn
on.
from him, mind. So we've got a lot to learn from him, haven't we? Did you hear that plug for NJ there? We're taking the piss out of him wearing a cap backwards like a Justin Timber snake or whatever you bloody call him. But
Justin
he
Bieber,
spun it
isn't it?
round. Well, that's that bell end. Aye, there you go. I wouldn't mind being a few quid behind him, but that was incredible, sir. Can I just say, my hat, me forward-facing hat goes off to you because that was brilliantly turned round. You bloody professional.
Is that ears in or ears out? Is the main debate here?
It just why
See,
in who started putting ears in?
when I was in the game, if you'd have bloody had your ears tucked in your cap, everyone would have took the piss out of you. But these days, if you haven't got your ears tucked in, you know one. You don't even deserve to wear a Monster Energy cap if you haven't got your ears in, have you?
You just look like a bell end. Who the like? I'm trying to think who it was. Was it Hopkins? You know the
Yeah,
guy with the
yeah,
really
yeah.
nice
John
bright
Hopkins.
like he won races by blinding everyone else. That lad, you know what I mean? Bleached, bleached
With
back.
his
But
teeth.
So obviously it was the first run out on the brand new ZX10R,
Yeah, the
and
brand new ZX10R, yeah.
obviously me and Dom are
Lovely
both going to be
bike.
racing that bike this year, and we both haven't been out on ours yet. How was the first feel?
It was absolutely shite to tell you the truth, mate, because
good lad.
it was absolutely shit for the first half of the day because I couldn't get the quick shifter or the down blipper working. So I was literally riding, having to do it old school with using the clutch up and down the gears. And I said to one of my clients, he had a 2017 ZX10R, and I said, excuse me, mate, is there any chance you could show us how to turn the quick shift and the blipper system on it? And he's like, yeah, no problem. Anyway, they turned it on, and for the rest of the day, the bike was just a dream to ride. But
Did you give that?
yeah,
Did you give that guy a discount because he fixed your
n-
bike?
no, not at all. I made him a brew.
I
I
made him a
made him a
brew.
cuppa.
Oh no, but from that
Yeah,
from
but
that point onwards, it was a dream to ride, though.
the bike was lovely, mate. I mean, the Kawasaki ZX10, the new one especially, is unbelievable, and in my opinion, which is the reason I've chose to use Kawasaki in their range for my Superbike School it is the best sports bike out there, and hence why it's got the British and World Superbike titles under its belt. So yeah, I need I
I'm
say no more.
I'm certainly looking forward to riding mine this year anyway. And what's the crack? Have you got two spare ZX10s? And if punters want to come on your track days, can they sort of hire them or something like that?
Yeah, well no, I've got one higher ZX10 and one ZX636 that we hire out. So obviously I use a ZX10 myself as my instructor bike. And yeah, we've got two hire bikes, and the hire bikes is basically how I've structured that is It's 495 for the day, and that's including a space on my Superbike School, so all your tuition's included. You turn up on the day, your tyre warmers are on, tyre pressure's done, fueled up for the day. You get free tea and coffee, biscuits, crisps, and fruit all day. You pretty much just turn up. You've got your bike, all tuition, everything included for 495.
Any chance you could come to the northwest with me or something like that? That'd be great. Teas, coffees, tire warmers,
Yeah,
bikes.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I've made a
But
mistake jumping the gun so early signing for a team. I should have waited out and spoke to you first.
to be fair, we could have done a good deal, but the only problem is I'd probably have to put a little bit more of a deposit down because obviously I think the bike would be coming back on a wheelbarrow if you put it through a hedge. You're not exactly just going to do a clip on round there, are you? So but, might take a wheelbarrow with me just so you can bring the bike back for us.
And speaking of wheelbarrows, oh no, no, you first. It's your lovely fact. Oh no, here we go then. So, the Rousset here, the wonderful maths teacher from the northeast, was telling us that you were rough as a badger's arse and from a working class background. Do you want to tell us about that?
Well, if that's how you want to put it, then
No, I am. He put it a lot more politely.
yeah.
You're like me. Rough as a badger's arse. It's great.
Yeah. I was raised on a council estate in Liverpool, and that was sort of my background. Really, it was just one of them. People often ask me, say, how did I get into bike racing and stuff? Being where I was from, because I wasn't from a wealthy family. My parents weren't into motorbikes; they couldn't afford to buy me motorbikes, so. The only obvious way for me to get into bikes, being from Liverpool, was the obvious one. It was just start stealing bikes from an early age. So I'm not laughing, seriously. I was 11 years old. I was 11 years old when I stole my first bike, and it was, I'll never forget, it was a KR1S 250. And I was that fast on it round the local town. The police obviously couldn't catch me, and it was just inevitable that I was going to end up racing because they couldn't catch me, and everyone was saying, "Steve, you're that fast, the police can't catch you, so why don't you start racing?" So obviously I stopped stealing bikes at that point, and then it was only so long I was going to steal bikes for, and then started racing. So why have you gone quiet?
To all our
You
young
just
listeners,
you,
by the way,
you,
to
you
all our young
literally
listeners,
you literally just want to mute the conversation out on you.
not a
Good.
chance.
It's a good job I'm taking the piss.
No, it's
Um,
not. I can hear it in your voice. So good. There you go.
no,
By the way,
the
to all our
the,
young listeners, if you want to get into racing, don't exactly adopt that, but it's a
yeah.
good method to really breed your adrenaline into your bloodstream. Obviously, commit a bit of crime, but no, I like the way you go about it. That's great.
No, it was obviously it was a bit quite the opposite of that, really.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
was I actually, believe it or not, I bought an old Honda Bentley 185, big twin exhaust, chrome twin exhaust bike. 50 quid off my local neighbour, lived about 5 doors up from my mum's house. And I literally used to drag it out of my mum's little brick council shed at the back of a council house every other night after school and take it on the wasteland by not so far from where my mum lived. And I'd get it out, especially when it had been raining. There was this lovely flat grass field, and I used to get it out. Never forget, it was jammed in third gear, this bike. And it was a big, heavy so-and-so. So I used to have to, muscle it about a little bit because I was tiny when I was sort of 11, 12 years old. Anyway, this guy was watching me all the time. Stood at the side of the field, and the grass was wet, and I'd be sliding it round in big circles, doing sideways on this, but obviously just on plain road tyres. And one day this guy shouted me over and he said, "Steve," it was actually a friend of a friend. He was like 40 odd years old, and he said, "Steve, would you fancy starting junior road racing?" He said, "There's a championship just started for kids between 12 to 16 years of age," and I was like, "Yeah, obviously, I'd love to." But obviously, I thought he was taking the piss, and sure enough, he said, he said, okay, he said, we've got our eye on a bike for you at the local salvage place, Black's Bike Shop. He said, let me give you a shout in a couple of weeks and we'll have the bike for you. So anyway, sure enough, a couple of weeks later, he shouted me back over off the field and he said, Steve, we've got this bike here for you. Do you want to come and have a look at it? This race bike. He said, we need to rebuild it for you and stuff, but we'll get you started on that. Sure enough, I went over and it was a little Kawasaki AR80. Funnily enough, it had been stolen, recovered. So,
By you. By you.
no, not by me. I've never stole a bike in my life. And anyway, so yeah, so went over, seen this bike. They got it rebuilt, and that was it. I started racing at Three Sisters circuit in Wigan. I'd done pretty well first off, and then that was it really. Just the sponsorship sort of spirals from one year to the next. We've done slightly better, got a little bit more help, and then the year after we've done a little bit better and got a bit more help from other people, and that was it really. It was just sort of snowballed on from there to where I am now.
I mean, it's incredible. Like, looking at the people coming through the race and these days, and like it's very unusual for someone to come from a non-racing background and not have the financial support of the parents to get them started. So it's I know we're like having a laugh, but it is incredible. And obviously that bloke that give you that first chance, like looking back on your life, that's been such a platform to then go on to bigger and better things. And without him spotting you on the fields and giving you the chance, obviously nothing else would have possibly happened. So it's do you get to keep in touch with that guy? And
Definitely. Yeah, no, definitely. I still see him to this day, and without a doubt, that guy, I'll name him. His name was Mick Edge, and he basically single-handedly himself, and it was actually his cousin. There was two of them that were involved in helping me get out there, and they basically changed my life. Then that day on the fields when they asked me to go over and have a look at the bike, and I mean, there was nothing in it financially for them, or they just seen raw talent, what they thought on this old piece of shit of a bike on the field, and they just wanted to give me an opportunity. And back then, I was at the point where I used to watch other lads on motocross bikes, and I just used to dream of having my own motocross bike or any decent bike of my own would have been a dream come true, and never back then did I think I was going to go on to do some of the things I've done and meet the people I've met over the years and sort of give me the lifestyle we've got now, through the bike industry. But yeah, I'm forever grateful to that guy, and I could never repay him enough.
Oh, God bless him. Like, there you go.
It's amazing. And obviously, after initially starting at the Three Sisters, I take it you then went on to the Aprilia Super Teens.
Yeah, it was just a natural progression. From the Junior Road Race Championship, I battled with James Toseland in 1995 for the title, which I eventually lost by 5 points to James. And then, the following year we went on to the Aprilia Super Teens for a couple of years, which I went on to win in 1997. That was 17 then. And then we made the step up to British Super Sport, and it was called British Sports Production Championship back then, which was basically the equivalent to the British Superstock 1000 Championship. So I was racing in both classes at the same time, even though I was only 17, 18 at the time.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
During
the Super Team days, who was the year that you won the championship? Who was your biggest rival that year?
God, I think it was Carl. I think Carl Harris was in that year. Tell a lie. There was another Scouse lad, Liverpool lad called Paul Jones.
Oh, everyone loves a local rivalry. Everyone loves a local rivalry.
It was, well, to be honest with you, we were actually really good friends, and I got him into racing, and he went on to race in BSB himself for the Virgin Yamaha team alongside Simon Crayfar and Steve Plater, I think it was back then. But yeah, I think Paul Jones was my main rival that year. Carl Harris must have been the year before in '97. But yeah, it was a good old days then in the Super Teenies.
Yeah, and then so from after the Super Teen days on to the next step. How many years after was it before you got your big break with like a big team?
First big break with big team was let me see, would be 2000 and so I got a real good ride and opportunity. Sorry, going back a little bit, it was 2000. I rode for Castro Honda in the British Supersport Championship as a replacement rider for the injured John McGuinness at the time.
Who's John
And
McGuinness? No one's heard of him. Go on, tell us a bit about John McGuinness.
yeah, no, John had injured himself. I think he snapped his femur on his 250. He was riding in 250 British Championship and Supersport at the same time. And I think I'm right in saying he snapped his femur on his 250, and I jumped on his Castrol 600 bike for the rest of the year. And done pretty well on it until the last rounds of the season where I got hit from behind the back straight at Donington and ended up losing my spleen and broke my back and a few other bits and pieces. So
Oh,
it was a
lovely.
bit of a it was a bit of a bad end to the good season. But yeah, then I went on to I think it was 2007, 2008 was my first proper big break, which was with Honda UK in the official teams in Supersport and Superstock.
Right,
Yeah.
let's talk about a race here, mind. Hold on, wait a minute. We've got some lovely notes here, and we're looking through it. Let's hold on. I'm jumping the gun here. Let's talk about the Northwest a little. You know what I mean? So you've gone from being a short circuit scouse riding, pinching, lovely lad, and you've jumped into road racing. How do you think that went then? Your
Well,
opinion on road racing, to put it blunt.
yeah,
What's your
yeah.
opinion on road racing?
My opinion on road racing was back when I was in my early 20s, sort of 21, 22, 23. Everyone at that point was asking me, "You gonna do the TT? You gonna do the Northwest?" And I was like, "Yeah, give it a go." And at that time, I was actually battling for the British Superstock Thousands Championship in 2003 against Dave Jeffries, the late Dave Jeffries.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, and me and DJ were pretty good mates with McGuinness, and used to obviously do all the usual messing about in the paddock and barbecues after race weekends and a few
Back when
beers and
racing
stuff
was
like
proper
that.
racing. That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah, and yeah, me and Dave were having real good close races in the British Championship, and obviously he went off to the TT that year and was obviously killed through his accident at the way it happened and stuff. And
Yes, I.
up until that point, I'd always wanted to do the TT in the Northwest. Sorry, I'd actually already done the Northwest, but the TT at that point in 2003, I sort of took a back step on that, on my decisions to do that, just because of the way Dave's accident happened, because it was nothing to do with him, he'd done nothing wrong, and I couldn't accept that,
Yes,
that if
I.
you could be doing everything right, your bike's mint, everything's perfect, but something out of your control, and then you're killed, so I couldn't accept that. But um, just rewinding a little bit, 1998, I was 18. I'd always want to go road racing. I'd never been to Ireland, so I threw an old steel framed Honda CBR 600 in the back of a transit van and went over to the Northwest 200. Arrived into Belfast at 1 o'clock in the morning by myself with the bike. I had a trailer on the back with little bunk beds and a few bits and pieces in.
Stolen
Um,
trailer, or did you buy it yourself?
no, it wasn't stolen. It
By
was
the way,
actually,
I am joking. All our listeners, I am just
yeah,
winding this lad up.
I know, I'm
He honestly
innocent.
only ever stole one bike in his life.
No, the trailer was actually borrowed off a good friend, and so I got to the paddock at the Northwest 200, and I had the best fun on a motorcycle I'd ever had that week in Northern Ireland at the Northwest. It was just unbelievable. The whole experience of the Northwest 200, of Ireland, the people, meeting all new people over there. I was made to feel so welcome. I was only 18 years old. I didn't know which way the circuit went. The bike I was riding was fast, but it was a bit of a nail.
Is that?
Um,
At 18-year-old though, does that make you the youngest competitor there then? Must it be?
I wouldn't
Ever?
have thought so.
We'll have to look that
Nah.
up, Chrissy, won't we?
Yeah, I'm sure there was other riders that went at 18, but
That's still a hell
yeah,
of an age to tip up in a van with your mate's trailer and go
yeah.
bombing around like essentially an absolute warp speed triangle. So hats off to you, young'un. Hats off to you.
No, it was good. It was honest to God, as I say, it was the best week's racing I've had up to date, and it was unbelievable, an experience. Because all I'd ever seen and heard of Northern Ireland was all the troubles over there and stuff. So I was absolutely shitting myself going over there and got off the boat at 1 o'clock in the morning. But when I woke up out in my little trailer the first morning, I got out to the side of me, and there's John McGuinness. He was parked next to me. I didn't know this at the time, and John was in a blue transit van at the time with a caravan, a little Swift Challenger caravan on the back. And I know now, but I didn't know back then. But he had a little switch in his van to flick it from white diesel to red diesel, which obviously was a trick what many of us lads
Good
used
lad.
to do years ago. And I eventually bought the caravan off him, but John, fair play to him, he gave me a hand on the spanners that week.
Oh, good man.
And
Good
Becky, his lovely wife, was giving us cups of teas and stuff out the back of the caravan. But John couldn't believe it that I was there by myself. He was like, who have you come with? And I said, no, I'm just by myself. And he was like, well, where are you staying? And I was like, in the trailer. And fair play, Ian Duffus, actually, a big shout out to him. He took me under his wing and took me to a local farm where he stayed. And he'd been staying there for a few years, and Ian said, come and stay with us on the farm, you know, you don't have to stay there by yourself in the paddock. And again, the Irish hospitality was just unbelievable, the way I was taken in. This family, two young boys, got up each morning and went and milked all the cows with the dad, and it was just an unbelievable experience. And I went there years later, I think it was back in 2010, and stayed with them again. And the boys had all grown up, and they were doing handbrake turns and stuff in the little cars in the dad's field. I said, "Come here, kids. I'll show you how to do some proper skids." But yeah, it was an amazing experience, something I'll never forget. And I ended up going back to the Northwest in 2008 with Honda, the HM plant team. But yeah, it was all good. I loved road racing, but it was, as I say, I made the call on the TT and stuff after Dave's crash in 2003. So I take my hats off to every road racer that throws his leg over a bike and races hard around the Northwest. All the TTs all deserve unlimited amount of money and budget to do what you do around there. So it's unbelievable.
I take it when you first went out there, the Northwest 200 course would have been slightly different from what it is now. Before they put the chicanes in, can you remember
Yeah.
the sort of lap speeds you were doing back then?
I can't remember the average, the top average speed, but with the old Mathers Cross corner, that was a real fast, flat out.
Right-hander, wasn't it?
Probably, yeah, flat out fifth gear. I'd say to you, probably just reach up to fifth and maybe just screw a bit of speed off in fifth, but roll through it in fifth gear. It was unbelievably the fastest corner I've ever gone through on a motorbike, other than probably say Church at Thruxton. It's probably on the same level as that sort of corner. But
Well, that's
obviously,
all you. I've never been to Fruxton. You must experience that then,
yeah,
Chrissy. There you go.
yeah, it's a little bit different, obviously, when you've got hedges and trees and stuff beside it. But
Irish
yeah,
people
no,
drinking pints of Guinness and smoking woodbines. You know what I mean?
exactly,
What's the
exactly.
story there, mate?
Yeah, but it's not too much different now. I mean, there's only Mathers Cross, and I think they've added one or two other chicanes in certain places just to slow the bikes down and stuff like that. But the track's pretty much the same.
When you went back with the HM Bland Honda team, how did you get on?
Uh, well,
Talking results. You're very
yeah,
modest. Come on, give us a
no.
result.
I'll just explain the first bit that happened, which was I started off in the Superstock race on the all new Fireblade then, and obviously my way of thinking, because this is obviously after Dave Jeffries crash at the TT. This is now
Yeah.
2008, so it was a good 5 years after Dave's crash. And I thought, well, I'm with the best, support the best team on the best bike, so nothing's going to go wrong, blah, blah, blah. So I had every confidence in the bike and the team, and it was just down to me as a rider to perform. So it gets going on the Superstock 1000 race, and done the start, got a pretty average start, must have been just inside the top 10. And I come round on the first lap back onto the coast road over Black Hill, and then down into one of the chicanes. I can't remember if it's called Jupiter chicane or something. What the last chicane before you come to the blind left-hander crest onto the start finish. Anyway, I set the bike up to hit the brakes, and the back wheel locked up, and I thought, shit, what's happened here? So I pulled the clutch in, run straight on. There was a little slip road where the chicane was, so pulled up, and the bike basically just drew to a halt. But I pulled the clutch in and thought the clutch had gone or the gearbox had gone or something. And the bike was running perfect when I pulled the clutch in. I thought, shit, well, the back brake's locked on. So anyway, a couple of seconds later, the bike freed off a little bit. So I thought, oh, fine, it's, locked off. Anyway, rode it back to the pits, and then it locked on again when I got back to the pit. And I thought, it's definitely a back brake problem. So I explained to the lads, and it never come back to me what had happened. No one had ever told me what had happened. Anyway, years later, my old crew chief, Julian Boland, he eventually told me, this was about 10 years later actually, he told me, he said, Steve, what had happened, the guys had machined a new set of rear sets back at base at Honda's workshop in Louth, and where the rear brake master cylinder goes into the reservoir, it had been machined like it was a thousand thou or something, the measurement. So the piston was slightly rubbing inside the rear back brake master cylinder, so the brake was binding right from the get-go. So obviously, so then I just thought to myself, if that back brake would have seized on going into Station Corner or Mathers or down on the run into University or anywhere like that,
We wouldn't be having this chat.
Exactly. So I said to my mechanics at the time, for the next race, which was the Supersport race, I was sat on the grid and I said, guys, this is going to be my last race ever here. I said, I consider myself very lucky to be sat on this grid because of what went on in the race before with the mechanical on the back brake.
Yeah.
So they were like, okay, Steve, just go and enjoy yourself. And I went out and rode the absolute shite out that CBR 600 in the Supersport race. And I think I finished fourth, and I was 1.6 seconds off the winner. So,
hell, lad. Well,
yeah, I was racing in good company. It was Hutchie, Cameron Donald, Guy Martin.
I've never
Steve
heard of them. I've never heard of
Yes.
them. These are all I know is Steve Brogan. So you'll have to
Yeah,
explain a bit about these wannabes.
No, there was a few good lads there, and it was just a big freight train, and they were all swapping paint down the straight, and obviously just slipstream, and it was just slipstream city on a 600. But it was unbelievable to finish fourth on the roads, so close to the win. I definitely went out with a bang, so I was well happy with that.
You'll have probably seen Richard Cooper's set to do the Northwest 200 this year.
Yeah,
He's gone there with the Bill base. We actually ran a poll on Twitter to see whether we think he's going to be on the podium this year. I said yes. Dom said he didn't think he would be, and it was.
Oh come on, not that brutal. It's got a lot of competition. That's what I said.
Twitter was unbelievable, like really divided on it. I think we had something like 250 votes, and it ended up being like it was almost Brexit, like 52 to 48%. It was really close in favour of them being on the podium. What's your opinion? Do you think he'll be on the podium this year?
Well, definitely wouldn't rule Richard out. As you know, mate, he's a good kid. He's a good rider, and he's definitely, he'll be as sharp as any of the other lads out there. But for him, it's just going to be a case of how many laps he can get in during practice and qualifying, to how fast he can familiarise himself with the track. And the biggest thing with the Northwest is just finding your braking markers, and then once you do, it's sort of coming from the speeds that you're doing, which you're not quite used to at BSB, and finding out how hard or how late you can brake, and then a bit more progressive and stuff. And that'll be the biggest thing for him to judge into all the chicanes to where his braking markers are and stuff. But without a shadow of a doubt, if Richard gets decent enough qualifying time and gets away with the front group, then without doubt he'll definitely mix it with the likes of Alistair Seeley and them boys. But
Yeah.
whether
Yeah.
whether they actually beat them, then Glen Irwin and them boys, because experience does count for a lot around places like that. And so yeah, but I'm not going to write him off. I'd like to see him up there in the top step. So
Yeah, yeah. I think
yeah.
everyone's looking forward to seeing how he's going to get on. Back to the BSB, and obviously you've had a really good career, twice British champion. Well, look, I was just actually showing Dom the video of your race at Croft in 2009, where you were battling with Alistair Seeley, and that sort of leads us on to who was your biggest rival throughout your time in the Superstock category.
Biggest rival in Superstock. Yeah, I thought the years I was in Superstock thousands, I've had a fair few over the years. But I'd say probably 2009 would have been my best rivalry was against Alistair, just because I was that pissed off for getting my arse kicked every weekend by him. And then obviously it come to a head when we got to Croft that weekend in 2009 at Croft. Alistair was on for his 10th win, and I decided I was going to go down fighting, if I didn't win. So I thought, well, I'm going to give it my best here. And I was literally, I think the video footage of the race showed it. I was literally,
God.
I was prepared to die that weekend.
I tell you, honestly, you became my hero there. Honestly, we're jumping around, watching the laptop. I'm screaming at the place. Honestly, that you've become a legitimate legend in my mind. That was an outstanding bit of footage. Chrissy's going to put it on the Twitter page later on. And honestly, I was screaming at the place. You literally knocked off an Irish leprechaun without crashing yourself and gave John McGuinness, a fat brickie from Morecambe, the win there. It was just an outstanding race.
I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. I'd scratched my balls off all year. And had some unbelievable dices with Alistair. Fair play to him. I mean, even to this day, when you watch Alistair race in Supersport, he's a hard rider.
I can ride it like
I would say, 99% of the time he's fair. He's hard but fair all the time. And it was exactly like that back then in 2009. We were taking chunks out of each other, bashing into each other and stuff. And generally, the pattern would go, Alistair would annihilate me down the straight on his GSXR relentless Suzuki, and I'd pass him on the brakes, and that was the story of the season. But he always, fair play to him, he always came out on top. And that weekend, I just thought, right, I need to get my first win. Obviously, I was the reigning champion from the year before, so it was a bitter pill to swallow when I was getting my arse handed to me on a plate every weekend by Alistair. Especially when he's so smug as he is. But no, it was good. It was all good.
Outstanding.
Would you say that 2008, when you won the championship, was that your favourite year in road racing, or
2009 with the battles?
Or 2009, or which year? If you had to pick one year of year to be, if you could relive one year in racing, what year would you pick?
I'd probably say 2008, but just because it was my biggest achievement. I've been trying to win the Superstock 1000 Championship for some years. I not only missed out on the title in 2003 when I rode for the Lloyd's Autobody Suzuki team based in Liverpool, through again somebody else smashing into me on the back straight at Donington Park in a separate instance in practice. It was, I got T-bones going into Cloppers. As a result of that, I was knocked unconscious and then ruled out of racing for the weekend. But basically, I was leading the championship by 26 points, but it was a double header, so there was double points up for grabs. So therefore, excuse me, I couldn't race for the weekend, so I lost all the points and lost the championship. But come close again in 2007, but I finished second to Glenn Richards, and then to finally clinch the title in 2008 convincingly on the HM Plant Honda was, for me, was as I said earlier, with my roots and my background, was just a dream come true, because I never did I think I was ever going to get the opportunity to race motorbikes, but to win a championship for the official Honda team was just a dream come true. And then to top it off, Honda decided to do 100 replicas of my race bike and done a Brogy rep, which was again just another amazing honour and achievement. And it was just I was just so humbled by just it was just all a lot to take in at the time, and it was like life couldn't be any better. It was just brilliant. It was just amazing. And yeah, if I could relive any years, then it would be that.
Yeah. If obviously you're very well known around the paddock in the BSB, and everyone refers to you as Baywatch Brogan. Who was it that first gave you that nickname, and where did it come from?
And why? Why?
No, it was actually Fred Clark, the British Superbike circuit commentator, and I was 18 at the time when he gave me that nickname, because it was a European Superstock Championship race, which was a World Superbike meeting at Brands Hatch, and again I was at that particular race meeting by myself in the van with a bike, which I'd got off my personal sponsor who owns Specsavers in Liverpool, which was a franchise. And he had a brand new
you didn't
R1.
see that one coming.
Where, Chrissy?
that was pretty good for you, that, Chrissy. So, yeah.
And that's the end of the show, kids. Thank you very much, Chrissy. Thank you.
He had a brand new R1, and I asked him 3 days before the race, could I race it at Brands Hatch in the European Championship? He said, yeah, no problem. Anyway, so there's me wheeling this bike down to Scrutineering at Brands Hatch, and Fred Clark was stood there, but it was a red hot summer's day, August the 5th. It was my birthday, actually. And I went up there and I had a pair of flip-flops on, shorts, and I think a vest or something. And obviously, as you know, I was always pretty suntanned, not because I go on sunbeds, just I just hold a tan all the time. Spray tan. Yeah, so I've always got a pretty good tan. And
from Steve Brogan, sponsored by Fake Bake on the left-hand side. What really spin it? Fantastic.
That's it. So Fred said, bloody hell, look at Steve Brogan, looks like someone out of Baywatch, and that was it. And it just stuck from then. I was only 18, as I say. For years, I was just like known as Baywatch Brogan, which for me, obviously, it was quite embarrassing being called Baywatch and stuff, but to be fair, back then I had the physique to go with it, but now when someone calls me Baywatch, I'm like, I just lift my t-shirts up and they go, oh yeah, okay then, fair enough. show them the tank.
But just before we wrap up, I just thought we can't do an interview on Chasing the Race and without, obviously, for those that don't know, Steve's been my rider coach for the last, what was it, 3 years? Yeah, 2 years. I've had some fantastic times, and it would never be a conversation really without at some point dropping in the fact that you won you did the double at Thruxton in Supersport and Superstock on the same weekend. Obviously the Gilberts will be listening, and I think every single weekend that gets dropped in at some point. So we'll just mention that.
I don't think I've ever told you that, Chrissy, did I? Did I ever tell you I won both Supersport and Superstock 1000 race at Thruxton in the same year in 2008? I've ever told you that?
And just before we wrap up, we've actually brought in a new thing for this podcast, and it's a little 5-question quiz, and it's going to be Dom versus the guest. So obviously Dom versus Steve. Okay, Doug. So
let's go.
Hold on. I'm part of the show as well. You can't be just adding things like this, Chrissy. What the fuck? What?
So I'll just quickly introduce the idea. So I'm going to read the question out, and there's 3 choices. Both you and Dom can have your say, and then we'll see who's the winner. Okie doke. So question 1: which rider was the oldest when they won their last BSB race? And all 3 choices are over the age of 40. We've got A, Shaky Byrne, B, Steve Hislop, or C, John Reynolds. So Steve, what do you reckon?
John Reynolds.
Dom?
No, I can't answer that now. He's so confident with that answer. Oh God, it's got to be.
I might be wrong though. If it's not John Reynolds, it'll be Hizzy.
It's a psychological battle here. I'm going to go Hislop because everyone loves him.
Question 2: in 1968, it was the last 50cc race at the Isle of Man TT. What is the 50cc lap record at the Isle of Man TT? Is it A, 67 miles an hour, B, 77 miles an hour, or C, 87 miles an hour? We'll give Dom.
67
We'll give Dom the first one. Go on.
At 50cc? Oh, God. I'm going to go. I would like to say 77.
77, Steve.
67 mile an hour.
Question 3. Which rider has had the most TT wins in their lifetime, in their careers? A, Ian Hutchinson, B, Dave Molyneux, or C, Michael Dunlop? Steve first.
Dave Molyneux.
It's got to be Dunlop.
Question 4.
This is bad, this. If I get all these wrong.
So on the Irish national road racing scene, which circuit has the highest average lap speed? Is it A, Tandragee, B, Armoy, or C, Skerries? Dom?
Tamragee. I'm going to go Tamragee. God, I hope it's Tamragee.
I was going to say Tanguy, but I've no idea. So I'm going to throw it out there and just say Scary. It's just to be different.
I've been round Tamragee and it's just fast as hell. I'm not sure if it's Skerries. I don't know.
Oh, and then question.
Don't be backpedaling now, Dom.
And
trying to copy me answers.
The final question. So I'm wanting out of the UK circuits, the 3 that I'm going to say, I want the longest to the shortest in order. Okay, so we've got Oulton Park International, Donington Park GP, or Brands Hatch GP. So we want which is the longest and then to shortest out of those 3. Dom first.
Oh God, I'm going to have to go Brands Alton Donington. That is a total.
What about you, Steve?
I'd say Alton, Brands, Donington.
Smashing. Well, I'll post the answers on the Twitter with the who got the most correct answers.
Are you joking? You're not going to tell us the answers now? They're well going to be spiked and changed before they bloody get put on Twitter or whatever you're going to do.
We'll do it in one recording, so we'll stick the answers on Twitter.
I'm going to ask him to edit it, so I get the answers right.
Well, listen. All the answers are being recorded, and if they get changed, I'll be getting in my car and coming up there to see you boys.
All what's left to say, Steve, is thanks so much for coming on Chasing the Racing, and looking forward to seeing you very soon. Wish you all the best with your track day coaching. For anyone listening, if they're wanting to get in booked on for one of your track days, where's the best place to go?
Probably my website, mate, which is Steve Brogan Superbikeschool.co.uk, or if you want to head to Facebook and like our Facebook page, which is Steve Brogan Superbike School. Go on there, and then the website will be getting updated shortly for payments and bookings to be taken on the site. So at the moment, it's a bit of a dinosaur website, so just bear with us. But I'd just lastly like to say big thanks to you guys for having us on, and also Chrissy. I hope to see you pull that first win out of the bag this year on the Morello Kawasaki, and if hopefully you don't have to get on the phone and get me to come and kick your ass every weekend, otherwise I will, but I'd like to see you lift that title this year, mate, so best of luck to you and the Kawasaki Morello team.
Thanks very much. Well, I'll see you soon, and thanks again. Cheers, Steve.
Cool, guys. Thank you.
Cheers, Steve, lad.
Cheers, mate. Bye now.
So great interview there with Steve. So grateful for him coming on the podcast, and I really enjoyed that conversation. Obviously, I know Steve really well because I work, quite closely with him. But for you, I bet it was interesting, sort of.
What a lovely, lovely scouser. No, absolutely. Honestly, we had a little pre-chat, obviously, before we do these little interviews and stuff, obviously on Skype and everything like that. But no. Chrissy quickly gave me a brief introduction. I know that is terrible to say that. I'm learning so much by doing this podcast every week. But honestly, this lad is outstanding. Chrissy, obviously we say in the interview, he's going to put that clip on YouTube, and we'll put that on the Twitter page of Chasing the Racing. And honestly, you'll see exactly what I mean about that clip. It's just absolutely brilliant. And
I can't wait to get your reaction back on it. And obviously, Chrissy, he knows what he's dealing with. And me, I can't wait to meet the man in person. I might even book myself on one of that lovely course. What's it? What's the course
The
called
Steve
again?
Brogan Superbike School. Me dad's actually booked on for later on in the year, so I think he's actually going to hire one of the higher bikes, the ZX10. So he'll be really looking forward to that.
Brilliant.
And Steve's worked with me very closely. I can't recommend him highly enough. He's a great bloke, really great coach, and it doesn't matter what level you are, whether trying to get lap records, or if you're starting out racing, it doesn't matter what your ability is, he'll massively be able to help you. So
Spot on, absolutely spot on. But no, hey, before we round up the show, obviously it was a long chat, it's been a long day, and we've all had a great time. But we've got to say thank you yet again to the main sponsor of our first sponsored podcast is KRG Motorcycles.
yeah, huge thanks to KRG. And if anyone out there is wanting to sponsor the podcast, we'll just do it episode by episode basis. So just drop us a message either on Twitter or wherever. And
Come grab us in the street and shove some money in my pockets. We're not
get
shy.
Something sorted. But yeah, thanks so much. And obviously, like you say, I'll stick the video of the Croft battle on the Twitter page. I'll also post the answers to our little quiz that we had at the end.
I don't want to see them.
And,
I don't want to
who-
see them.
Who won? So, and I must say thanks so much to Kev Pinder for sending us those questions in. And
Definitely.
he's a lovely bloke, Kev, and he's like helping us out with behind the scenes with me information.
No, he's a very dedicated lad.
Yeah,
isn't he?
it makes me sound more intelligent than I actually. But no, big thanks to Kev, and I guess we've actually got our first proper racing to look forward to at the weekend. So we've got the World Superbikes over at Phillip Island.
The winter is over, people.
It is.
The winter is over.
And really looking forward to seeing. I think for the first time in the last sort of at least 3 or 4 years, it's looking a lot more open than in the past. And I don't know if you caught up with the testing times, but Johnny Ray actually finished, I think it was 4th.
He's gone for, last time I looked, it was 3rd.
Yeah,
so he's gone to 4th.
It was Bautista was fastest, then Tom Sykes on the BMW. Then Leon Haslam was actually 3rd, and then Johnny Ray. So yeah, I mean, it'll be really interesting to see how Bautista goes, and I think everyone's just looking forward to some racing at long last after such a long racing. So yeah, we'll discuss that more in depth next week, because obviously we'll have our first race to talk about. We didn't manage to get the Marshal on the podcast for this episode. We had a few technical issues, so we'll get something sorted for next week. And I guess that's everything. And
Spot on, mate. Spot on.
have a great week. I hope the finger carries on making a recovery.
I hopefully keeps growing. It's a grower, not a shower.
Spot on. Well, thanks very much, Dom, and we'll catch up soon. Cheers,
Chrissy, it's been emotional.
mate. Cheers.
Whoa. Let's just reel it back here for a moment, right? We've totally balls the job, right? Totally balls the job. We've forgotten one of the most crucial bits of the Twitter wind-up mind.
So stuck on Twitter a couple of days ago, celebrating our first month of the podcast. So
Oh, it's been grand.
it's
Jesus.
our new anniversary. So it's the 19th of January was our first one, missing digits. So yeah, we've
Still missing the digit.
So we've just completed our first month, and I stuck a little picture on Twitter for the chance to win a mug. As a thank you to everyone for getting behind. So I would actually like to take this opportunity to thank everyone that is listening and plugging.
I'm going to
and
well
all
up
the
here. I'm going to well up.
all the Twitter crack, and because I'm really enjoying doing these podcasts.
They're torture,
And,
mate. I'm sick of it. I want out. Is that all right?
the support that we're getting on Twitter and everyone, all
Definitely.
the engagement and that, it's mint crack. And so it'll be nice to send off a mug. So I've just gone on Twitter there and opening all the retweets up. And if you just scroll down there, just stop randomly on one person,
God.
lucky person.
I'm not picking him. I know him.
God, so just
Here we go. Scrolling through, and let's go for there.
Let's go for that. And we have picked Alan McFarlane. Right, Alec McFarlane, you have won the mug. Apologies for getting your name wrong, but hey ho, I can't really read. So there we go. But congratulations.
spot on. So we'll stick Alan McFarlane. So let's go on his Twitter. and got a picture of William Dunlop there on the Tyco
Well, a man
Suzuki.
of taste. A man of taste.
Aye. So, thanks for retweeting, and I'll drop you a message on Twitter, get your details, and send you over the mug. But yeah, that goes to say thanks very much, and speak to you next week, Dom. Cheers.
Cheers, mate.